Badly.
We are live now. Yes, we're up and running. And I better turn that down a bit. Put that on where that's supposed to be at. I'll put that on where that's supposed to be at. And I'll get the little party started. Tell you what, life is good. Life is very good. Well, give it 30 seconds. Why not? Well, it's our show. We set the tone. We want to be 5 seconds, 10 seconds late. Guess what? We will.
I haven't even had a chance. I've been flat out.
Have you? Doing what?
I went on the phone. I rang my brother up for his birthday. I was only a day late.
Well, that's pretty good. That's
Not
all
bad.
right.
Well, I had a birthday and he never even rang me.
You had a birthday?
I had a
What, recently? Or?
Oh, a while ago.
Yeah, right. Did we celebrate on the program?
No.
Well, happy birthday.
I'll try and keep it low.
Yeah, I don't talk about my birthday either. Some people think people will start thinking I'm old, but I'm not.
No.
I keep telling the people in my periphery, 21, 22, I'm rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I'll live forever, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this party started. Dean and Irv, Spin Doctors. I think I've dubbed it episode 30, 33. There could be 333. You know what? It's
I'm guessing I say.
Yeah. Look, once again, the beauty of this whole program is that we do what we like, when we like, how we like. Other than you've got a few rules on you that don't necessarily apply to me.
Yeah, but they're here.
You
they're
good
all
sir.
A very sensibly written and very concise document that takes up a whole 17 pages in plain English, and it's very easy to read and understand.
I could summarise what it should say in one page, and it should just say, say whatever you like. You're a free and liberated human on planet Earth in an allegedly free country. Therefore, say what you want. But that apparently isn't quite how the game's played. So ladies and gentlemen, anyone new tuning in, Dean McRae here. Spirit of Self-Determination is a Facebook page. I do a few other things as well, but I co-host this fine podcast with this fine gentleman, Councillor Anthony Irvine of Temora Shire Council. And how are you this evening, good sir?
Pretty good. Well, I'm Anthony Irvine of Temora. And I happen to be a Shire Councillor on Temora Shire Council. Now, as a disclaimer.
We have to do the disclaimer.
The views I express here are mine and mine alone, and not those of Temora Shire Council. To that end, I do subscribe to the guideline that was issued in 3rd of June 2025 by the Good Minister for Local Government, Mr. Ron Honig, free speech in local government in New South Wales. And ever since that document has dropped, I believe I've complied with the code.
That's excellent. Well done.
And it's the first time that's actually something has been a little bit, clarification's been provided, because I believe that there's been codes of conduct investigated against me for comments I've made
on this very program.
That I believe are supported within this document.
Oh, I don't doubt that for 1 second.
So I suppose if ever there was anything to come of any of those complaints,
you would wave them away with the magic pieces of paper.
Well, they'd certainly be weighed against.
Yeah, of course.
Because this guideline to free speech in local government relates to the current code of conduct.
Yeah.
Because it can't relate to a future code of conduct, because it's a guideline that's been released on the 3rd of June 2025. So it obviously relates to the current code of conduct.
That's lovely.
So anyway, it's an interesting document.
Well, there you go.
If you can't sleep one night, download it and have a read. You'll be asleep by page 3. But
I'm not going to lie. Every time we talk about it, I start to go, "Oh, I'm going to yawn." Fucking codes of conduct, mate, with arseholes.
I went to a council meeting tonight.
Was there one on tonight?
I'm invigorated.
Oh, yeah.
Renewed.
Inspired.
Revitalised.
Walking on clouds.
Rejuvenated.
What sort of gibbering bullshit did you have to discuss?
Believe it or not, there were some really positive outcomes tonight. There were 2 really, I believe, progressive DAs came to town.
Right. So there's now multiple bathrooms being installed in all.
No. The DA's a development application. So someone put a development application in to convert the large building on the corner of Britannia Street and Hoskin Street down near the library, across the road from the library, which used to be a a furniture shop.
Yeah, I remember the one. It was the Henty's Country Barn once upon a time.
Yes.
No, Helmy's Country Barn. Helmy's, not Henty's.
Correct.
Henty's have a country field day, and Helmy's had a country barn.
And that was a fruit and veg. And
yeah, they did a little bit of all sorts of shit, if I
recall.
I was only a little tacker running around the joint.
Yeah, well, that's the place.
Yeah, right.
So we've had a really good approach from...
Who actually owns that, or is that private information?
It's been bought. No. Mr. Walsh, Darren Walsh, who used to be a...
He went to school here, or he was a few years above me at school.
And another fellow, I haven't got my notes with me, Hurst.
Fantastic.
I can't remember his first name, but his last name's Hurst.
We'll call him Mr. Hurst. Hi, Mr. Hurst and Mr. Walsh. Congratulations.
From Wagga. So they're going to...
do some building business.
Well, they're going to renovate the building, and then they're going to put a drive-through bottle shop in there and create some choice and some options and some competition for the incumbents.
Competition. I'm a fan of competition.
And when you think about it, we've got, in terms of packaged takeaway alcohol in town, we've got BWS, which is Woolworths.
Yes.
We've got
IGA,
which is Metcash.
Yes.
There's an existing drive-through bottle shop at the Terminus Hotel.
Correct.
And these guys are putting an offering in the main street, and they're already running a successful business of the same lines out of Young.
Okay,
so
very
they're
good.
Experienced. They know what they're doing, and I think they've already got their supply chain in place.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be.
They should go all right. Well, congratulations, fellas. Well done.
And so there.
I saw there's a new tyre shop that's opened up in town.
Their DA was passed unanimous.
Good.
And
hang on, so all you guys agreed on something?
Oh, 100%.
That's lovely.
The next matter was a DA for Moses and Son.
Oh, for the Mitre 10.
Yeah. So that got approved unanimously.
Should hope so. Seems like a good idea.
Well, it's a free country.
No, it's allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's a free country.
A free country, allegedly. But
for now, it's a free country.
But, and this is only hearsay, it's only small town bullshit, but there was a conversation had that years ago there was somebody who wanted to open a hardware store in Temora, and there were some impediments put in front of them for whatever reason.
Yeah. I reckon I could guess at a couple of reasons, but that's we won't go down that path, I guess.
So I
also believe at one stage Mitre 10 was attempted once before by some local business folks in town.
I heard a story, and I know it's not this. I've got no evidence of this. I've got no paper documentation, but someone told me that Jim Lagarkis, who used to operate Crazy Jim's Mitre 10 at Wagga,
right,
did float the idea of opening a.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure. There was a three blokes here.
Oh, there was. There was Hinchcliffe,
Dennis, and I think Greg Matthews might have been on. There might have been a third. Somebody watching may be able to clarify, and I think they had a bit of a crack at it. And they're all pretty successful guys in their own right, but that didn't pan out, didn't last, whatever. But that's all very very good. Sounds positive. I'm happy enough to see that go ahead. Apparently, somebody's not, signed off on Nanny Dawes moving into her house yet, so. Don't make me come down to council and have that negotiation. Let's hurry that along.
Well, that's all a brand new build. It should just sail through.
I reckon it would. But apparently there's a couple of little things that need to be done first. And I would say the little things that need to be done, this is just me pushing my card, is get your butt down there and sign off on it. Thanks very much.
I can't. I can't comment on that.
Why is this doing this again? Is your power thing on?
Well, we need to check that, don't we?
There must be something going on.
That might be the issue.
There may be something. We better make sure we got power, guys. There seems to be something not quite right going on here, because last week it went perfectly. It's worked well all week. Now it's telling us some silly nonsense. And on other interesting topics, I suppose, while Anthony works that out, there is finally a woman that has arrived on planet Earth that can control me. I've fallen in love and I'm not looking in a mirror, Councillor.
Yes, and she weighs about how many pounds?
7 pounds. Was it 7 pounds 6?
Yeah.
Here's the official weight of said princess. So that a bit of a jam in, but it's something not quite going right there, which is a bit annoying. What we may have to do, councillor, is log in off your laptop.
No. It can all happen.
Can all happen. It's very unusual. So yes, my daughter has arrived. The amazing, beautiful, and most important young lady on planet Earth has now arrived. I'm sure other people will think the same thing about their own daughters, as they should. But Edith May is here. So life is pretty good. We've had a pretty impressive, pretty big week. No, this is very unusual, ladies and gentlemen. I say that because it's been working phenomenally. If you want to log into StreamYard up there, we may have to switch source. Which is very, very strange. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yes, so she arrived healthy Monday afternoon, 3:42 p.m. Most of you would have seen me post that on.
So I can't figure that out because this thing's sitting there happily, fully charged.
Which one's that plugged in at?
It's plugged into the same thing that's plugged in it.
Yeah, right. Interesting. I don't know. Is that kind of holding out there, is it? Oh.
Still saying your battery's running low.
Yes, it is.
So
this is how you know that it's a genuine here and now kind of deal here, ladies and gentlemen, when these things go on.
No, there's definitely an issue. So I think we need to log on here.
Right, yeah. So we better do that. You swap that. You talk to the good people while I swap this out.
Yeah. You want a mouse?
I think we've played this game before, but anyway, you keep talking. You give the guys a bit of a rundown.
Well, the council meeting, apart from that, was pretty uneventful.
Uneventful is not a bad thing.
There was a little bit of nastiness at one point, but
what did I do?
No. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Oh, okay.
No, so yeah, like I say, everything else was tickety-boo. And it was all over and done with pretty quick. Well, I was home by a little after 6. Couple of hours.
We'll just hold out here while
there's a few things that we need to just.
Right, yeah, that's all right. Don't lose too much sleep over it, I won't.
No, just passwords and stuff. We don't really need to see your logons on the big screen.
Sign in, because we can actually transfer straight over. So if you keep the show rolling while I do this.
Mate, I've got the show, mate. I've got it in hand.
I have no doubt.
Can you pass me the paper, please? And I think we'll just.
Yeah, start there. That'll be fun. You can do that, and I'll take the piss in a few minutes.
Well, we started our new segment last week called Rick Picks. And I thought we were on fertile ground first up. I thought we were going to struggle. I thought it was an exceptionally plentiful week, the first week we started. But this week, the new editor of the Temora Independent, a fellow called Noel Fisher, who carts around a big old digital SLR camera, who obviously is compensating for something.
Yeah, right. I haven't met this fella yet, so I can't.
Well, I
can speak to anything.
He's got a big camera.
Yeah, now we're cooking with gas.
Anyway, he's gone above and beyond this week because he's been snap happy.
Snap happy?
Snap happy.
Yeah, right.
He's been snapping the mayor, Rick, as much as he can.
At the stage. How is that, guys? Tell us we're back. Tell us we're on air. Tell us something's going like it's supposed to go.
What I can't figure out is why
that thing keeps shitting itself.
This thing's running out of steam.
Well, it's a bit unusual. But
it's got a Jim's Test and tag on it. Like it's got
I know. Well, what happened there was the guy came through to do all the stuff at work the other day, and mine was on the desk. So
I just don't get how.
All right, so we're audio back, guys. Tell me we're cooking with gas. All good? Okay. Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a strange setup on this one. Not sure why that is either. But anyway, we're going to do it anyhow. Let's go cooking. Let's go. Where were we at?
Okay, so we've...
Rick picks.
We've smashed.
Rick picks. That sounds like a play on word on possibly dick picks. Is that what it is?
No, of course not. Why would that be ridiculous?
That'd be a bit. No, that'd be far too humorous. That doesn't sound right.
No,
we don't have a sense of humour. We're always a very serious operation here.
The fellow's name's Rick, and there's lots of pigs.
Ah, yeah, well, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Rick picks adds up. I get it. I understand.
So page 1, we've got 1. Page 2, we've got 1, so there we're up to 2. Page 3 starts digging in, and we've got 3 on page 3, so we're up to 6.
6 picks.
Page 3, and we're up to 6. Page 4, we get another one, so that's 7. So by page 4, we've already got 7, which smashes the last record out of the park. But hey,
oh shit! Well, that's now number 8. I'm quite intimidated.
Well,
I know I'm only little, and I'm fairly sweet and innocent and the like.
5.
But I tell you what, the arms folded, the cranky-looking face. I think we better have a good hard think about our behaviour and who we are willing to tackle with.
It looks like he's just going to say to someone, "You be very careful.
You be very careful." I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm a big ma.
That's very intimidating.
I'm a big ma.
Shitting myself.
I'm coming for you. Now, I don't know if he had to get up a 6-foot set of steps and the photographer had to get down low to make it. No, but this is very much a stage shot, isn't it?
Oh, it couldn't be any more staged if you tried.
Because that one, like wearing the Mayor bling and just thumbs out.
Bling, ring-a-ding-ding. Yeah, that sort of half makes
that
sense.
One,
like
Mayor bling, Mayor bling, Mayor bling, smiley, smiley, happy people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smiley, smiley, happy people. 5. 6. And then it's like Mr. Nasty.
That's gangster. Shitting myself.
Yeah, it's
I've never felt so nervous looking at a man in a paper with a scowl as that one. That's terrifying.
And it's all over because he's pretty tough. Because it's all over. New South Wales country mayors slam bank branch closures. Well, look, you can staunch up all you like, nigger.
You can't say that out loud. You'll get into trouble.
All right. Gangster.
You
can staunch up all you like, gangster.
Yeah, for sure.
But the banks aren't going to listen.
They don't care.
They will crush you like a
toss.
Ant. So I think it's all for the paper. It's all for the locals. It's all for a bit of front.
I find that hard to believe, yeah?
I do.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. And then...
So how many more of these are in there?
Well, we get down to... We've got some of the local sporting scene where the local mayor stepped out of the mayor's suit.
He's out of the mayor's suit?
And put on the River and Umpires Association suit.
Jesus.
Which happens to be Shrek green.
Oh, Christ.
It paints a picture. There's a mental picture there, so there's an additional 3 photos in that section.
Yeah.
So we've managed to reach a total of 10.
That's a fair whack.
Now,
that's an impressive number.
When you consider that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Audio.
There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 pages, 17, 18 pages of local news, and it's more independent.
Yes, it's a 3-page newspaper, and this Muppet's got
well, there's
10 photos of himself on said page, which is
two pages
which is
of
madness.
But 2 pages of classifieds in there. So,
not to mention, I don't know, the Ardlethan Post and the Southern Weekly, and
well, that's right.
Like
there's other areas that you can't encroach upon. So, running at an average of it's exceptional. It's high performing.
Are they dating?
I don't know.
I put up a bucket load of photos recently of the love of my life. It's a little girl named Edith May, you see. So she's got quite a lot of my attention, you will see.
Yes.
So if I had a newspaper, she may just be on every page of it at the moment because I'm in love. Now, if I'm in love and I'm putting that in there, that many, in my newspaper, maybe, are they romantically involved? Is there dating going on?
I don't know.
That'd be really cute.
Noel Fisher came to the council meeting today.
Did he? Oh, this is the new editor, bloke. Did you introduce yourself and say, "Oh, I'm Anthony"? When you're really upset, you'll put me on the front page of your paper.
No, I was sitting down. He came in. He went out. He didn't come up and introduce himself, and I never went out of my way to go and meet the guy.
Fair call. Fair call.
I don't need to really because I think I can sort of see the trend.
Where he's leaning already. Yes.
I think I can see the trend.
I'll tell you what, look, it's pretty hard going when you've got a town that does have quite a lot of high achievers in it. Like quite a lot. We've punched well above our weight as a community for the best part of as long as I can remember. We currently have a Temora boy coaching the North Queensland Cowboys.
But the thing
we have 3 or 4 NRL level players. We have produced some world-class athletes, some world-class people doing some A-grade shit all around the world. And somehow we can turn around and have 10 photos of the same bloke in the same corner. Now, this isn't a town with 100 people in it. If it was a town with 100 people in it, I reckon you could see how that would work.
Well, you couldn't even see it then.
But I could go, okay, you've got 4 pages of your newspaper. There's 100 people here. There's a chance of some doubling up. I could see how that'd work. What I don't see is how in the blue hell of town with realistically 6,500 people in the Shire, are you telling me that this bloke deserves 10 pages of 10 photos of attention in arguably the crappiest newspaper in Australia? Well, that's where they've lived in my little world for the last little while.
That's what I mean. So we've had propaganda Pete, purveyor of pernicious praise with his poison pen.
The pathetic parasite.
Pass into the...
Yeah.
And it's been replaced by snap happy Noel Fisher, who can't get enough of Rick working it and twerking it.
Oh, fuck.
And
actually, I could imagine him twerking it.
Well, he's working. He's working the camera. He's doing the staunching up. He's doing the gangster shit.
Oh,
he's doing
far out.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to get the Flavor Flav clock.
Yeah,
the clock.
He's got it on.
Yeah, boy, you remember the Flavour of Love? I remember Public Enemy, but apparently I'm old, you see. So
but he's got it on there.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. Look, and to the new Australians to town, congratulations. I hope you choose to come here, work hard, join in the fun of being an Australian.
There's all sorts of ructions occurring across the globe.
The globe's pretty broken
relative to those types of things, and the migration and the concentration and the lack of assimilation and other areas.
Some of the haters will hate it, the lovers will love it. I was contacted this week, right around the time my daughter was born, who is laying there listening. That's why I'm smiling, because I'm getting little photos of her lying there with little eyes going on. And she's beautiful. She's the best ever. Just saying. I got a call. One of the companies, and as we know, I do a lot of stuff, right? One of the companies that I do some work with, we'll say work with, because I'm not, I don't work for, was contacted by somebody who saw, I don't know which video, but I now have TikTok, you see. That turns out that I've made a bit of a splash on that son of a bitch already as well. And who would have known? Seems like a lot of people kind of agree with me on a lot of shit. But anyway, so some loose cannon, sensitive, overindulged, spoiled fucking child has contacted an international company and had a conversation or sent him an anonymous email saying that I've said some hurtful words that may offend the Muslim community. Now, here's what I have said, and I'll say it again. Islam and Sharia law is not compatible with Australia and Australian values. If you do not like boobs, beer, won't eat a bacon sandwich, but you think that it's perfectly acceptable for your prophet to be married and banging a 9-year-old, we have some very different values. There is no circumstance that I can support, endorse, pat on the head and say it's okay for somebody to be banging a 9-year-old. Now, if you feel that that's okay, you need to go to a country where that is acceptable. Don't bring your shit here. Now, then the next follow-up was we had a discussion about it. And I said, I'm not pulling the video, not going to happen. And I'm not going to apologize. What I'm happy enough to do is say, still come and buy your cars from me because I'm going to look after you better than just about anybody else. And if you really are of a similar mind, you know, you may need to go and anytime you go to buy a car, turn around and say, even if it's a different planet, if you're in a dealership in WA and it's not affiliated, tell them that you want Dean to get a spotter's fee, and that's the only way you're going to buy a car. Try it. We'll do a reverse Bud Light here. If people want to have a crack at cancelling me, I'll give them the big crack right back, and we'll show a little bit of. I've had to accept the fact that after recent events, I'm just going to say I'm now officially right wing. Now I've always sort of said I'm pretty centre. I'm centre right leaning libertarian. No. But we're at the point now where I've got no sympathy for any of this lunatic nonsense. I'm done with it. The whole cancel culture thing. I've been done with it for a long time, and I've always been brave enough to go, you know what? Bullshit. I'm going to be honest, direct with the public. Where we're at in society is what's now currently the right wing that I think I am, based on how much traction I'm getting from some very simple videos. Like I'm not overthinking it. Is where probably the left wing was 20 years ago in a lot of topics, right? And now we're watching what happened with Charlie Kirk. We're watching these lunatics. They're celebrating the murder of somebody who had good ideas and wanted to debate them. It's no longer a case of I disagree with you. It's now a case of if I disagree with you, I want to die is what I think they did a survey. Now, don't quote me on the numbers, and we all know my rules with numbers, people. If I say about, I mean about. If I say exact, I will be exact. This is about. I think it was something like 50% of liberals in America said that it would be perfectly acceptable for Donald Trump to be assassinated. They would be happy with that. I think it was 30-something% said it would be perfect to be assassinated. Now, to my knowledge, Elon Musk has never killed anybody. I believe a couple of people might have got blown up in experiments and such shit, but they take on that risk when you're going to be a rocket scientist or whatever the fuck.
The idea that because you don't agree with me, you can die.
And the numbers are so heavy. This isn't 2 or 3 psychos in the corner. This is an entire wave of people.
These the people taking the high moral ground?
These are the people who allegedly own the high moral ground. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. I know a lot of other people are done with it. I saw a really where somebody on Twitter, and again, you never know what's half a bot and half a real person. It's a shady place, the internet. But that's where if you're true to yourself, you don't have to worry too much. I know I don't have to worry about it at all. But one person got on the internet going, I can't believe they're saying that there were people more right-wing than Charlie Kirk. And the response from whoever it was, no, you killed a nice Christian boy. The rest of us are far worse and aren't going to cop your shit. And we're seeing that play out now. And again, there was a thing about cancel culture, and this is what's been bunged on me this week. And just to those people, there you go. Bring it. But there was a thing where, you know, comedians who said something 15 years ago, some idiot, and I'm going to call them the lunatic left now. And if you're on the left wing of sensible left wing politics where you go, don't like people to die, I think we need a social safety network, you probably can have a solid debate about some, you know, you think gays should be married. Cool. But you guys need to start having a good fucking hard look at the people you're associating with. Because I can tell you now, I made a video the other week taking the piss out of the Nazis, the far-right fuckwits. I'm happy to absolutely hammer them. You lot need to start hammering your fuckwits because they're out of fucking control. If you're at the point where you're condoning, celebrating, and partying the murder of realistically a good Christian boy, you're a psychopath.
Another human who's not breaking them.
Didn't break a law, never locked anybody up, never made a law. Arguably, there's going to be people who go, oh, well, Trump should die because people died when he threw a few bombs at whoever. Every political leader in the world has been throwing bombs. Albanese, I guarantee you, has ordered a certain amount of Australian military to do some foul shit. And every prime minister we've ever had. So don't start going, oh, well, Albanese, oh, right, Albanese, but not Abbott or whatever. Right? They all do it. It's part of the job. People die under their leadership as a head of a country, right? That's some foul shit. That's what it is. But I'm telling you, I'm done with this lefty lunatic shit. It's just over the top. You've got people screaming about being cats. They can't tell boys from girls. And then Gary Ablett Jr. Now, you're an AFL man.
Yeah, I see Gary Ablett Jr. came out with some tweets that were supportive of
Charlie Kirk's message.
And,
now, I don't know anything about AFL, right?
But Gary's not even playing AFL anymore.
But
he's an ex-AFL player.
Here's what happened, though. I saw it in one of the news things, and I went, well, actually, I just had a bit of a look at this bloke. I'd heard the name, but I don't know. I knew his father was somewhat famous, and I knew he was somewhat famous. Couldn't pick him out of a police lineup until it was on the front page of the, well, you know, one of the tweets or whatever came across. Anyway, so I had a bit of a look what he posted. Well, I don't see a problem with what he posted. Some fucking lunatic, when I put a post on there saying, congratulations, mate, for having the courage of your convictions, stand by it, which now normally I would say that to just about anybody. During the gay marriage debate, I looked at it and went, what the fuck would you want to do that for? But I was happy to have civil debate and go, oh, well, there's a fair argument for that, fair argument for that. I can have that debate arguably on just about any topic, abortion, war. I can debate just about any topic we've got, right? Probably not as well as Charlie Kirk, but I think I go all right in the debate. To then some lunatic goes, well, his father was a scumbag who did this, this, and this, and let some woman die. And I went, hang on. This is exactly where you people are going fucking wrong. Yeah. You're telling me that he's a scumbag and he shouldn't have that opinion because his father did something wrong. Not the fucking same thing. Not the same thing at all. And then I made some smug comment about, you know, you're clearly a fuckwit. And that obviously I would make a comment about your father, but I assume he doesn't talk to you because he's probably worked out you're a fuckwit. And I did that publicly because I just don't give a shit. These people need to be tuned up. If somebody was to, and my kid's starting to get a bit of a personality, the older one, the boy. We all know who Ryder is, but so you've probably got half an idea. He's got a big enough public profile for a 12-year-old. Not always a great thing. Sometimes it's a benefit. Sometimes it's a, you know, like there are pros and cons, and we've had to accept that's part of it with Dad having the profile he's got. But if these lunatics start going at my kid aggressively as adults, because they have differing opinions to me, we're going to start having a very fucking serious problem.
Well, the whole idea that you can have opposing views and there's any sort of sense of respect has been thrown into the
nothing left.
No, so but you wouldn't put anything past these people. They're
celebrating murder. Yeah. Now these are the fuckwits who got 18th place trophies. Yeah. They were told that they can pretend to be cats and that we'll pat them on the head and say you can be a cat. And you know the worst part about it is some of those kids are just kids who go, oh, you know, look, what did I say the other day? And it was a pretty solid statement. If you're an adult and think that you're the opposite gender, you may have a bit of a mental illness or a bit of a challenge. But if you're a child and you think you're the opposite gender, your mother or your father has a fucking mental illness. And that's where we're at in society, where they want to put special bathrooms up for these confused kids. I saw a convicted rapist. Actually, I'll bring this one up because my head fucking exploded. Now, and we all know how I feel about child sex offenders. I would like them to be dealt with appropriately. I drop them at my house. I'll sort that fucking out. A trans-identified male pedophile who raped his own daughter is now being held in a women's prison because he identifies as a woman, and he fears for his safety in a all-male jail. This fellow does need to be dropped at my house. The police need to turn the cameras off and disappear for a couple of hours. I won't need long. I'm happy to sort that fuckwit out. Well, there is no way in the hell in this world, in this day and age, in any fucking world, that sort of shit's acceptable. We've got, the country, not just the Western world, this is the entire Western world. Now, we're not even talking about Australia. We're not even talking about tomorrow. We're not even talking about America. The Western world, Western civilization.
Whereabouts was that?
I'll bring up the article. I'll find the article.
I just can't understand. Is there a legal definition of
fuckwit? Yeah, I reckon.
No, of what prison you should go to.
There'd have to be. I'm not a lawyer. I'm happy enough to. Maybe we bring Kyle in at some stage and say, Kyle, can you
unravel this?
Unravel how the fuck this happened. But now Kyle is my lawyer. I don't think he minds me being on his public. But
seriously, how on earth can that happen? How can someone actually choose which prison they go to?
I fear for my safety. I don't give a fuck.
No. But
your 5-year-old daughter was probably fearing for her safety when you stuck your dick in her, you sick fuck.
There's plenty of people who've done the wrong thing by the mafia or whatever, who've been heterosexual males and gone into a prison and they're feared for their safety.
Yes. Yes. I'm not sure why we give a fuck about these people's feelings.
But the idea that you can say, oh, no, but just today I identify as a female, so send me to the girls' prison. How can that be an option? How can that actually physically take place?
Kyle, if you're watching, or even Cameron or any of my legal mates, feel free to let me know. I'll give you a link and you can come on one week and we'll discuss how in the fuck that happens.
The whole thing's it's progressing at a pace that the majority of the population can't keep up with. And that's true of everything. It's true of migration, it's true of cultural change, it's true of... And if you force it too hard, like...
I've got enough ADHD to fuel a fucking jet. I can't keep up with it.
Landline did a program recently where they went into regional Victoria. And there were people there who were at their wits' end. There was a guy who has worked for the CFA as a volunteer firefighter for like 25 years, right?
Yep.
And now the Victorian government are putting a levy on there, an emergency services levy, which is a tax on their rates. And they're billing them for provision of emergency services, yet these are the volunteers who are providing the emergency services. So there's an absolute kick in the guts for the people who've given a heap of their hard-earned time. They're the people who are actually doing the job, and they're getting taxed for doing it.
We are being raped and pillaged. A rape that's unprecedented.
Well, it was the same thing I brought up where it was raised by a resident of Temora who had
built a shed in kind for a sporting club.
Dedicated a heap of his time to the provision of facilities at a sporting club in a voluntary capacity, and then was being levied a fee for the use of the same facility. Now that is just...
And I'll tell you why.
The level of unfairness is... Well,
I don't care about fairness anymore. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit beyond that as well. We have an entire parasite class, and the parasite class in Australia currently is in the majority.
Yes, and it is.
Now,
but there's a certain point where the host will succumb from the impact of the parasites.
This is what's getting worse and worse. Is people are being made so dependent. It's the only sensible thing I've seen Susan Lay say since she took the crown. Which I don't know why you'd want the crown of that show.
It's the poison chalice, really.
It is the poison chalice. Yeah. But the only sensible thing I've seen come out of her mouth since she took the crown was she said, we are becoming a nation of dependence on government money and blah, 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 blah. I did actually share the post. Now, we are over 50% of this country is in some way, shape, or form reliant on some sort of money going into their account from a government agency.
Yes.
Be that they work in a government job, they work in it could be a hospital, obviously valuable. I'm not saying can everything, but it could be that. It could be some bullshit government.
Welfare.
It could be Sticky Ricky's. Let's go around and look in people's windows to see how they're using their rental properties. That's a government-funded bullshit job. Consultants. We've then got, and then you get into the disability sector, and you go, okay, apparently,
and the people working on government-funded projects, and
if somebody and this middle-class welfare cycle of bullshit, where you've got people on 150 grand a year in their household are getting child subsidies to send their kids to daycare or whatever.
Or their kids are getting on study, or on and on.
On and on and on. And I hate it so much. And I'm happy to work 50 jobs so that I don't have to take one. I assume I have a Centrelink account, right? Because they give you everybody one. I've never opened it. I've never looked at it. I don't want to fucking know about it. I don't want to talk to these people. I'm sure there's a list of entitlements that I'm entitled to. People go to me all the time, I'll get it. It's the best thing in the world. You just, you can just cycle it through. You might as well take it. And I did some of you may know Topher Field. Topher Field and I did a podcast together during the COVID years. We did a few interview segments and whatever we were talking about. And even Topher said, you might as well take it. Like, you can't beat it. Everyone's bucket. And I still to this day can't bring myself to, one, talk to them, two, open the fucking page, three, go into the building. And any time that I've had to go anywhere near a Centrelink building for anything,
at a council level,
I've wanted to puke.
But at a council level, though, I actually did an experiment recently whereby, as a councillor, there's an option to take superannuation on your councillor entitlement. Now, if you do so, that would indicate you're an employee, wouldn't it?
You would think so, yes.
Because that's offered to employees.
Yes.
So apparently it's been accepted. Apparently it's been. So then you'd wonder whether the same protections that would be offered to an employee would be offered to a councillor. No, seriously.
I do. Absolutely. Yeah, you're blurring these lines.
Well, but Safe Work and companies like not companies, but government entities like that.
Yeah.
There seems to be a spot there where councillors in the community can be subjected to all these negative behaviours, and there's no protections for them.
No.
Yet they're employees under the superannuation law. So I'd be very interested to see that tested. There's.
All right. Look, it baffles me. I don't know how we get off this merry-go-round.
Look.
I don't even know how to start peeling it back.
The only way the merry-go-round will stop will be when
the country is bankrupt and close enough to Venezuela.
No, but when enough people fall off, like we're at the point now, and this was something, it was interesting, a documentary I watched the other night where a person was saying, where is the next house price growth going to come from?
Yeah.
Now, there was an increase in the cost of housing or house prices when women joined the workforce, because all of a sudden you had 2 wages to service the home loan.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden your borrowing power was increased. And then there's been a gradual decline in interest payable over a long period of time. So of course, when you've got a higher ability to service a higher debt, so that increases. And obviously if you can pay more, they'll charge more. So houses go up.
Same thing happens in the childcare sector. As the wages go up, so does the cost of the
wages. And wages.
They lift the wages and the compliance of a childcare centre. At which point, then the parents get charged more to cover that cost.
Yes.
And for them to be able to do that, they need their government subsidy to pay for that to go up.
Yes.
Which then puts my tax up.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And puts the tax up at the parents who are dropping the kids off at the daycare centre, so that they can fucking go to work to pay for the daycare centre, so some other arsehole can raise their kids. It's gibbering nonsense.
The only other lever that they'd pulled was they've gone from 15-year mortgages to 20-year mortgages to 25-year mortgages to 30-year mortgages. Now there's some indication that a 40-year mortgage is in the offing. So you've dropped interest rates, you've added another payee to the ability, you've lengthened the term.
Yeah.
And you've increased the ability that they've got to pay the bill because you've paid them. Now, if any one of those circumstances change, like we're at maximum pay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, even then, there's people starting to fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
So where is the next leg up for house prices? And it's very hard to find because unemployment is starting to creep back up.
It's going to creep back up.
Wage growth is going to be low.
It's not going anywhere. Yeah, nobody can afford to do any more than what they're doing.
Interest rates are going to be high, and the ability to put another person on the mortgage, the only way, and this was one thing that was mooted in this interview, the only way that they could possibly increase house prices is if adult children stay at home and their wages go
towards said mortgages.
So you'll end up in a situation where you've got mum, dad, son one, daughter two,
husbands and wives.
The dog will have. They're at the point now where once that's exhausted, then the dog will have to get a job.
And now, a friend of mine in the US, Dan Berman, great guy, calls himself taxationist theft. I believe he legally changed his name.
Yep.
He did a video there at one point talking about how come, and it was, look up the video, check out Dan taxationist theft. He's all over the shop, great bloke. YouTube, cool guy. Cool. Yeah, he takes politics a bit like I do. He's offended by most of it, tries to have a good time with it as much as he can. Because it's pretty dark sometimes. It can be a very dark place, particularly if you take it too seriously. But anyway, part of his theory at the time was you and your wife have built a business. I don't know if you own your house outright, none of my business, but you've bought a home that's your home, your family's home. You've built it. Now, why is it that when you die, there's still ownership issues? Why is the government taking a piece of that? If your children want to just move in, and that's end of story there, that's what they should be. They should effectively have accommodation for life. Why do they need to then go out? Unless they choose to, of course. You know, Dad, I'm going to go and start a business and buy my own house with my wife, and that's da-da-da-da-da. But as a family home, this should arguably be
a family home
in family Irvine's effectively forever, unless you choose to sell it, unless the kids choose to sell it. But if I turn around my home, let's say I get that all paid off, I've still got a mortgage. Let's say I pay the whole
Castle McRae,
Chateau d'Eau.
Yeah.
You know, I've got that paid off, right? Don't owe anybody a damn thing other than these parasites with their council rates, and I'll rattle their cage later. Different show. But if I've got that all paid off. Now, at the end of dead, under no circumstances should Ryder or now Edie or, you know, the other two kids that are now very, very close to my periphery, will I suspect they will be looked after in my provisions. Why should they, one, have to pay the government any fucking thing, right? Not your house, fuck off. My house, I built it, I worked for it, I bled for it. Now, I'm on that next, you know, that's just theirs. So it stays there forever, so that if those kids ever come under duress, ever shit or fallen on hard times, they know that no matter what, there will be accommodation there that is theirs. No,
I honestly believe that the WEF, you will own nothing and be happy, is being rolled out, and there's all these mechanisms is designed to basically displace people and make them unsecure and take ownership of anything in the world away from them.
They do not want us owning anything. They do not want our kids owning anything.
No, and
they are teaching.
These are the things they're putting. There's a tax that's been put on in Victoria that I think it's a land tax of some description. That's
pardon me. I saw one today where the Victorian government's talking about we'll own the land and you can build and own the house.
Yeah,
fuck off. Creative communism. Get fucked.
Well,
I don't even like the fact that I and others have to pay rates to the useless parasites down here. I know technically you're one of them at the moment, but you know the fact that we have to pay for this shit's bullshit.
No, I'm not a parasite.
No, but I'm saying the council entity to me is a parasite, right?
That's right, but the only way that you're going to change any of this stuff, and this is the whole thing,
that's
you
why
can
you're
sit
there
here and huff and puff and blow the house down. There's a difference to actually getting in there and
look, I'd like to get in there and dismantle the whole thing. And I've always said that if I got elected to Parliament, I'd be going into Parliament tomorrow going, right, we're going to cut that, we're getting rid of that.
Four other people to get elected.
Yeah.
That can actually vote to have that stuff done. And that's the issue.
The issue is, even if you got 9 councillors in there who said, right, we'd like to abolish the council, there'd be a new one set up by state government a week later. So, it's built into a system that's designed to do what it does.
Part of the illusion or part of the facade that they've concocted is that there is some sort of self-determination by the people.
Yeah.
I've witnessed enough to know that the state government are using local government as an arm of state government, which it is, and they're rolling out their policies there. They're rolling them out through the offices, and the councils are pretty much there as a facade to give the impression that
people get a say,
that people have got some self-determination, and they honestly think that if you vote for that individual, you can make a change. But more often than not, decisions are being made. Stuff that councillors should be consulted on aren't being consulted on. The council officers are coming and begging for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yep.
And quite often, and look, it's supported. You've only got to look at any councillor that actually speaks up and speaks their mind and tries to represent the interests of the people. Is attacked. Michael West Media had a very interesting live stream on the other night, and he had 4 or 5 high-profile whistleblowers.
Yep.
And every single one of those people had been absolutely victimised, vilified, persecuted.
Richard Boyle's the most.
Yeah, but there was
David McBride,
Wilkie, the politician. There was Stolz. There was a guy involved in some coal testing corruption. There was another guy involved. What was the other corruption? Anyway, but all of these people had a similar story that whistleblowing in Australia is bad for your health, and they'd been persecuted, victimised, and it had been detrimental in every element of their life, and they're the ones holding the bully to account. Now, I went back and I watched a documentary on the Wood Royal Commission.
Yes.
Now, that was after systemic police corruption had been entrenched in New South Wales Police Force for in excess of 20, 25 years.
Yep.
There was a guy there who gave evidence that it was in the 90s.
Had a good run on Underbelly, the whole show.
Well, there was a guy there who was one of the key collectors of the evidence. He actually was a guilty individual who turned police informant, who went out and went undercover and collected evidence on his colleagues in the 90s. And his first offence was in the late 60s. So you're talking about a 25, 30-year period where this systemic corruption had been ingrained, and the amount of people who would have been ripped off, trodden on, bashed, trafficked, exploited under that regime is just, you can't even count.
Yeah.
And it was systematic, entrenched corruption. And honestly, when you start looking at what these whistleblowers in Australia are starting to expose, you can see that there is
still
it's actually probably on the increase.
Yeah.
Because there's protection rackets protecting a lot of this. There's so much.
It makes me. I get sad. Not sad in let me tell you, that's never going to happen. To those of you who would love it to happen, but I get sad, right? I get disappointment. I feel, because I look at this country. I've got enough bogan Aussie in me that I am proud, but I want to be proud of this country. I think it has.
There's so many things.
So many sensational, amazing, wonderful things about it.
But it's become this haven for.
It's a corrupt cesspool of shit as well. And, And you can't trust, just can't trust you can't just trust anybody, which sounds horrible.
But you can't trust the mainstream media. You can't trust a lot of the government authorities. When you say, look,
and you've got to try and pick and choose the ones that you're going to trust. And how do you know which ones are trustworthy? And I can tell you, and what makes it even harder is some of the individuals doing the bidding are useful idiots who don't even know they're doing the bidding. That makes it even harder because there's good people in there doing work on behalf of scumbags.
There's a number of really good councillors who've been subject to biased and ill-intentioned codes of conduct to take them to the Supreme Court and have them overturned. But it comes at this huge cost.
You're nearly bankrupted by the end of it.
There was a Parramatta councillor.
Hard work.
A Parramatta councillor recently spent a sum approaching $80,000 to defend to defend against a biased and obviously a wrong code of conduct. And the average councillor can't defend against that. The whole game is so rigged in favour of the accuser that the person defending the action, and they haven't got any of the tools the accuser's got. They haven't got any of the resources the accuser's got. The accuser basically says, "You've done this, and we deem this, and whack, whack, whack."
And if you've got a rich uncle with $1 million who agrees with you, feel free to get him on board to bail you out.
Oh, but it's just the whole thing is, and you look at what happened to Richard Bull, you look at what happened to David McBride, and you look at how wrong all of those things are, and you look at the core, like even the knack that's been established, there's shadows over that already, and it's the credibility of it's been challenged.
Yeah.
So, Australia in that space is in a really bad way.
We also need to remember, and we're a very young country. Now, natural resources should give us a natural advantage. They don't, because we're ruled by fuckwits and idiots. Now, some people will say to me, oh, they don't know what they're doing, or maybe they just don't understand. They know it's deliberate. They're raping and pillaging you and me by design.
It is deliberate.
And we keep copying it. But we're a country that was founded on, and there's obviously the argument of the Indigenous and blah, 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 blah. We could go on and do dances about that. I don't think tonight's the night for that. My Indigenous brothers and sisters know full well that I got no problem with the colour of their skin. I can give a flying fuck.
No.
But we were founded on convicts and their jailers. That was the dynamic that built Australia to start with. The initial setup over here was the pricks with the guns and the chains and the pricks in the chains with the guns pointed at them. Not that much has changed.
No, it seems to
we
be
are
very
still we're very much still a colony that is set up by, they've obviously redesigned it a little bit, reshaped a few
But it's still under the fundamental British system.
We're under the British system where effectively there's those who are control freak, lunatic, the for lack of a better term, the cops that came over here.
Yeah.
We are the convicts, and we are working for our bread. How very lucky we are.
It's institutionalized. It's slavery.
The difference between us and, say, America is we've never had a revolution. We never fought for shit. Now, my diggers, and, I've got a pretty solid following amongst the veteran community. I'm not saying you guys haven't done your shit, but we haven't had any sort of a revolution in this country where we've had to fight for the country directly going, now, fuck off. We are Australians, and this is what we're about, and you can bash your rule up your ass. I don't hate Britain. I'm really happy to see that they're starting to stand up for themselves as well, because they've allowed themselves to be overrun.
Well,
they're in such a debacle shit show.
But it's getting pretty lively over there.
Good. It needs to, and it's going to get lively here too, because this commission, Karen, silly bitch, doesn't get deported and keeps crapping on with her shit. We're going to get to the stage where I have no doubt I'll be arrested for Facebook posts. And although it happened through COVID, there were pregnant women being arrested for, turning around saying this is all bullshit, not acceptable. But they've done it. But I just look at it and I go, we haven't had that cultural revolution where we've gone, fuck off. We are still effectively subjugated as a people, which is funny, because then again, you've got the Indigenous going, well, we're subjugated by you pricks. And I'm going, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Now, no doubt, they get the raw end of the stick in a few areas without a shadow of a doubt. And what happened 200 years ago when the stolen generator fucked up? You know, I absolutely, and I would never like to see that happen again in that way. I think it was horrible. And saying that any child who's in a dangerous situation where people are raping them and hurting them need to be removed. I don't care what colour you are.
No, but even
so, how do you get there?
But that's happening
it's happening across the Western world.
Yes.
We're importing the third world. We're doing it at a rate of fucking hundreds of kilometres an hour. And you can tell me, oh, that's a racist thing to say if you want. It's not. I don't care what the colour of your skin is. But we're importing nations from third world countries where life means nothing. And I mean, it means nothing. That's why kids are being hacked up with fucking machetes. The machetes aren't getting up themselves and go, oh, let's go and kill some people today. They're simply a sharp implement.
And you can take the machetes out of the community. Next thing it'll be bats.
Of course,
or it'll be a fence parting or a star picket or whatever it might be. It's not an implement.
Mate, I could pick up that camera, use the leg and stab somebody in the fucking eye if I really wanted to.
Intent.
Absolutely, and we are bringing these people in at 100 mile an hour.
That bullshit that Jacinta Allen pulled down in Victoria was just all showing. It's all
$350 million waste of taxpayers' money in a bankrupt state. Good job, you dumb bitch.
Know what it hopes to achieve. Well, it achieves nothing other than taking the hand of a useful gardening implement, taking the use of a useful gardening implement out of the hands of everyday people who are law-abiding people.
Our good friend Andrew Thaler, an Indian parliamentarian. Now, I saw the headline of this. I haven't watched the video. An Indian parliamentarian, I believe she was in WA, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, claimed yesterday that Indian DNA is in the Aboriginals, and therefore Indians in this country and our First Nations people. And if I recall from the article bit that I read, again, correct me if I'm wrong, she's actually some sort of a geneticist as a job. So before she took on politics as a tax-paying waste of time, she was a geneticist. And now the Indians are claiming that because they're half Aboriginal, whatever she's claimed, that the country belongs to them anyway. This is how out of hand and ridiculous the whole show is getting. Now, there's also the other argument. The white guy turns around and says, oh, well, we weren't here for that fight. That happened. They got rolled out. Come back and get it if you want it. And, some of the black fellas are a bit offended by that, and that's fair enough too. But then on the other hand, we're currently importing a whole other show. They're not fighting their way in. They're not invading us as such. We're inviting them in. Yeah. And they're taking over. So it's a different style of what's happening.
Hang on, buddy. You roll into that. 2 secs.
Okay, you do that, no problem at all. So, look, as far as that stuff goes, it's bloody hard to manage. We are, as far as I'm concerned, it's effectively a non-hostile takeover that will become hostile very quick. If you watch enough videos about Islam and Sharia law is absolute. They don't have any inclination of blending it with the West. The goal of Sharia law is to effectively take over the country. Now, in saying that as well, I know some really great Muslim people who are just, they pray to their God and they just want to have a good life for their family and, bloody good people. Unfortunately, the cult that they're a part of, and I'll call it a cult, is pretty extreme at the wrong end of it. A bit like the lunatic lefties that want people murdered they disagree with. This is the same sort of shit. They just do it on a bigger scale. When I see signs queers for Palestine, from my understanding of what happens to the queer in Palestine, you people are like saying you're chickens for KFC. That'd be like the chicken in my backyard holding up a sign going, I support KFC, you racist out there, you upset the colonel. It's gibbering nonsense. Alyssa Thaler, now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're on a slightly different screen today. I can see the comments, but I can't access them on the side of the screen. Alyssa Thaler has uploaded the link for that. I believe, if I'm guessing right, that would be regarding said parliamentarian who's claiming that her DNA is Indian, therefore it's Aboriginal, therefore they run the show. And
yeah, we'd be able to look it up normally if our
normally I can click into that, but it's a slightly different screen. I'm a little bit lost on it, but that's all right. But yes, so this is the sort of stuff that we're we're looking at. Now, I am not a religious man, but I think the West is a pretty good civilization, or it has been. I reckon there's a lot of positives, a lot of.
We've spoken about this before, and seriously, if you want to put a group of people who are going to live together in some sort of a community, then it's pretty handy to have some ground rules.
Absolutely.
And when you look at the 10 Commandments as a start point, and you go, okay, don't kill each other, don't steal from each other, don't take more than your share, don't make a pig of yourself, don't jump the fence, don't do this, don't do that. Like it's a pretty
solid base.
It's a reasonable start.
Living a solid life.
It's a very reasonable start to live. Like it's a bit along the lines of the do no harm.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So, and that's
do no harm, mind your business, don't hurt others.
Don't take more than you share.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's fundamentally what it is. And whilst ever people have that sort of attitude, you can have some sort of a
reasonable discussion, dialogue.
Tolerance is important. But tolerance only goes so far. You know, if someone's playing heavy metal that you don't really enjoy outside your bedroom window at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night, and you've got to go to work at 6, tolerance is at a low ebb.
Sure.
And there's got to be some consideration for your neighbours and
you know, look, when I was young, so only a couple of years back, we used to, when we first moved out, right, we started we'd share houses and we did all that sort of shit in Canberra. We used to have parties on the weekends. And where I came to a bit of a conclusion, I don't know, I'm sure other people have done it as well, but I used to invite all the neighbours and I'd go around knowing we were having a party. I'd go knock on a few doors, put a few flyers, I'd just make up handwritten notes. Guys, we are having a party tonight. You're more than welcome to come and have a beer with us. Nobody ever did, but most of them were pretty appreciative of the gesture. Oh, no, have a good night, guys. Really appreciate you letting us know. We'll try not to get too out of hand, right? Now, if you're going to be playing heavy metal music outside my bedroom window and it's every night of the week, we're going to have a problem. I'll knock on the door. I'll go, listen, you want that guitar shoved up your ass? Or, you know, like, seriously.
There is such a thing as headphones. Son.
Yeah, that's right. You know, pull that in.
And but that's what I mean. It's all about that whole idea.
There's a bit of common courtesy. You don't need to, you know, I've had very serious Christian friends, you know, like I've attempted to recruit me into their cult because I consider that a bit of a cult as well. I like their rules and I do get along far better with that concept than I do with Sharia law. But, you know, and they'll come and go, well, but, you know, we need these things so that people know not to murder and not to hold the phone fat man.
Yeah.
If you require scripture and a book to say, don't fucking murder people, I think we've got a bigger problem on our hands than whether or not you're what denomination you claim.
But even when you go back and you look at the way that the law exists, a lot of it's built on that
Judeo-Christian values, and I think we need to protect that. Which again sounds. This is me, I guess. This last week, going, look, I think I'm officially just a right winger, based on the current structure. But I also think now we're in a situation where there's right, there's wrong, and then there's the fucking lunatic left.
But even
so, you know,
I'd be considered left wing when I say,
yep.
I've always thought that decriminalising all drugs was a worthwhile experiment because
as would I'd agree with you on that.
When you criminalise something, all of a sudden you monetise it.
Yep.
And you stop treating the effect of it and you start treating the
root cause.
Well, no, you don't actually address the root cause.
Right.
You just address the symptom, like
I've had that debate a million times on debate stages.
But that's very
it's a left wing view.
Yes, but I just think it's a very sensible view whereby
right versus wrong is where I'm at.
Yes,
because
and you're not trying to do the best thing by the person who's affected, and you're certainly not trying to address the problem.
And the very first question, and I know this because I've had this debate with a million people over the last 20 years that I've been kind of tapping away in this space. When the first thing, well, what if somebody's on drugs and they rob a nana?
Well,
it's still fucking illegal to rob the nana.
Yes.
That's what they need to be tackled for. And the argument that, well, they'll get lenient because they use drugs as an excuse. No. Under my view of how this shall be implemented, you get no fucking get out of jail free card because you're on drugs, dickhead.
But
you chose to take said drugs and Rob said, Nana, you're off to jail for robbing Nana.
But because the drugs have been monetised and because they're controlled by organised crime and because these people end up robbing Nana
to fund
their drugs.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
because of whatever psychosis, whatever. Now I've had
and this is the thing. A lot of the society contributes to a lot of the negative emotions that these people are experiencing, which, like, people have said to me, oh, why would you take drugs? And you're thinking to yourself, you've got no idea just how ordinary some people's lives could be. And they will take drugs to try and forget how ordinary their lives are. They will take drugs to try and forget what happened to them in childhood. They'll take drugs to try and forget what their uncle did to them.
Yeah.
They'll take drugs to try
and then you get another element of the footy players in recent times, for example, whose lives are pretty shit hot, really. Yeah. They get paid pretty big money to kick a ball around.
Yeah, but
they want that thrill of the chase and they're looking for another.
But that's but it's also a recreational thing
because their life is already kind of up here.
Yeah, but
they're going, how do we get to that next level? What the fuck? I'm already playing in front of 80,000 people a week. How does this get? How do I get? Where do I get the next buzz from?
But that's the same as where rock stars who seem to have it all and then crash and burn. But it's a different level, I think, when it's a recreational choice and it's afforded and it's all sort of basically, I won't say legitimised because it's purchased with clean money and it's purchased from.
It takes out all well.
But
it takes out the unofficial organised crime and leaves the official organised crime as in charge.
Yeah, but there's, like I say, we're at this ridiculous nexus here at the moment with illegal tobacco.
Yeah.
Now
that's the best example you can ever find for.
So you've got a heap of addicts. It's not good for you, but they've taxed it to the moon. And, of course, what comes in and fills the gap? Well, organised crime will always see an opportunity.
Absolutely.
We can make a quid here. And then all of a sudden, there's some legislation where they're going to try to have some sort of recourse to the landlord. So if someone's renting premises off you and you own a property and they're doing nefarious deeds out of that place, they're going to come back and they're going to attack you as the landlord.
That's where it's at.
But you're not doing it. Like
that's where we're at.
How about we stop the stuff coming in there? But like I say, I believe all of this is only occurring because they've taxed an addictive substance. They're not treating the health element of it.
Oh yeah, but the alternative there is you do the complete opposite and you free the market right up where you remove the tax from, or you make the tax so marginal that
So you're talking about $40 for a packet of 20 cigarettes. You're talking about $2 per cigarette.
Okay. So if
you've got someone on minimum wage who wants to smoke 20 cigarettes a day,
they're in a lot of trouble. And if a company, Dean's Tobacco, I'm now at tobacco,
no, but
industrial. But if I was to look into a country, any country that I wanted to produce said product, and there's a pretty good market for it, I could arguably, I'm assuming, make the product, sell the product if it's $2 a cigarette with the tax included with $1.40. So arguably, I could make it, produce it for 60 cents.
That's with all your margins and your distribution.
That's with all the margins, distribution in each one of them. That's a pretty good little business. Now, if they turned around,
you can what you'll find is a cigarette company can. If cigarette companies around the world, you can buy a packet of cigarettes in the world for $1 Australian.
That's what I'm.
Because because the cigarette companies will market. They will determine what the population have got to spend on cigarettes, and they will put a product in at that price.
Price it in accordingly.
So,
and you know what? And if the tax on those things was, let's say, 20 cents out of that, everybody's getting more than a fair drink on a product that people obviously want. I'm a non-smoker. It's not up to me to judge grown adults.
It's a legal product.
Even if it's not cocaine, should be done the same way.
But the tax,
whatever.
The tax is making it unobtainium for the majority of people who are supposedly. And look, the most insidious part about this is the last figure I saw was about 12% of the adult population in Australia smoke cigarettes. So it's a significant amount of people.
Yeah.
When you actually break that population down, a lot of them would be low socio.
Of course.
And there's a number of those people who would be have mental conditions.
Yep.
Anxiety, and other depression and things like that.
Yeah. There's not all of them, but in a lot of cases, there are people who are struggling in life. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So what it does is it's kicking the poor bastards when they're down and taxing people who can't stand up for themselves. And
it's look, the smoking tax is a discussion. Look, all taxes theft, but it really is.
They're using it as the big stick, but what they're doing is, and they're even
they've created organised crime gangs. They've increased fire bombings.
Yes,
they've created the biggest black market you'd ever want to see.
And the actual consumption of legal cigarettes in Australia, just on a report recently, was gone down 22%. So they're even missing out on the tax.
Yeah.
So when you've got the amount of tax that thing delivers is in the billions. So the Australian Treasury is missing out on billions of dollars, billions of dollars of tax.
Which I don't see that as a bad thing.
No, but
they can't from their perspective, that's some dumb fuck shit. That's idiotic.
It is absurd. It's the biggest own goal.
But the problem for it is the extreme. So the extreme wankers need to clamp down and show they're doing something for the greater good.
Well,
so that money's arbitrary up in there.
It's one of those things where the people who don't smoke sit there and go, tut, 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 you dirty smokers, we've got no sympathy for you.
Yes, and you're putting, a stress on the health system because my Botox is different of value to your,
like I say,
cigarette smoking, almonds.
There's no consideration of the addictive element of it. There's no consideration of all the other factors that go into it. There's few people in society who can actually just walk away from it. And the same thing, look, you can say the same thing about poker machines. You can say the same thing about the gambling industry.
You can say anything about anything. And, look, I did a little video in front of a canola paddock the other day, right? Talking shit about farmers, and this is a canola paddock. Now, canola could be a bit controversial, right? Because there's GMO, there's, it's not healthy for the human consumption, blah, 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 blah. My point was that farmers are growing these things that produce all these different products that we use every day. And obviously canola paddocks at this time of year make for a good backdrop for a video. Quite a few of the comments, and it's done well, the video. It's not doing too bad. Multiple comments came in. Oh, you shouldn't have done it in front of the canola. Canola's bad and people shouldn't be using it. It's bad for their health and blah, 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 right? I'm not going to say I don't care that it's bad. That wasn't the point of the video. Yes, arguably, there are healthier oils to be using, without a shadow of a doubt. My point comes back to the same thing. If you're a consenting adult who wants to use canola oil in your fucking avocado and toast salad dressing, fill your boots. If you want to drink battery acid, I don't really care. You're a consenting adult. That's on you. If you want to snort cocaine off a toilet seat, as a consenting adult, I recommend you wipe the seat first, make sure it's clean. I do not care. You're a consenting adult. Fill your boots. I cannot turn around and go, canola should be banned because it's unhealthy for human consumption. Sugar, refined sugar, white sugar, very, very bad for you. Should it be banned? No, it shouldn't be. Right? If you want to eat that shit as a consenting adult, that's on you. poker machines. You want to put your wage through there, that's on you. You want to put cigarettes into your body, that's on you. If you want to turn around and spend your money on fast cars and faster women, that's again on you. You're a fucking grown-up. Now, kids are slightly different, of course, because...
But this is where we're getting into this grey area, because a lot of, say, this negative, say the gambling addictions and that, they're being cultivated.
The fix is in.
They're being cultivated when they're young kids. They're being exposed to it. It's not... Look, if you expose yourself to the odds often enough, the house wins.
Of course.
So the idea that, like, and I understand it's a bit of fun and all the rest of it, but, and I don't want to be the person that says you can't do it, but there are very sophisticated models and systems in place, and people are employing some very deep psychological dark arts.
I spent years working in casinos. I did my apprenticeship in a casino.
Well, that's what I mean. And the thing
there were no clocks. The temperature was set at a certain time. There was no external
There's no
view.
circadian.
You would lose you would lose the concept of time because the lighting was the same all the time. There was things that were like that. If there was a clock, there'd almost always magically be something in front of it, so you couldn't really see how long you'd been at the table tapping away. I get that, but you're also a fucking adult.
Yes, but the problem is, it does come back down to where society is predatory, and just how negative a lot of the actions that the average person takes in a day-to-day setting.
I've set a few records myself in the doing dumb shit.
Yeah, but it's a lot of it's reinforced by the government. A lot of the system that they're putting in place creates the
government doesn't want to lose pokie revenue. Christ.
It creates a sense of hopelessness that a lot of people experience that lead to these behaviours, and there's no catching net there. It's an abyss.
I'd love to see Australia become far more aspirational, but we're so far from that.
Well, and the people who work hard for the right reasons are still being
punished and hammered,
taxed to oblivion, and they're losing confidence, and they're seeing a lot of behaviours supported or a lot of behaviours actually promoted that are so anti
them,
but so anti a positive outcome.
Right.
So no one over governance, like the whole thing, it's very big stick approach, isn't it? Everything they want you to do is they belt you with a stick.
We are rats on a treadmill, and we are absolutely getting bashed and beaten and flogged unless, and this is there's a caveat with the unless you're hyper compliant, hyper happy to be part of the machine,
or you can ingrain yourself into the matrix or into the system.
That's what I mean. You've got to be hyper willing to participate as part of that machine.
No, but even get to the point where you are up the front of the gravy train.
That's where you got to be.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't, and I'm willing to work 3 jobs to avoid ever opening a Centrelink account.
But when you look at
I'm willing to do it.
But when you look at the state debt of Victoria, right, and the person who's majority responsible for that is Dan Andrews.
Yeah.
And then you see that how he treated the citizens of that state during lockdown. Then you see a photograph of him with Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping and Putin.
Communist fucking shits.
And then they want to put a statue up of him.
And they'll vote him. They would vote him back in tomorrow.
And you just sit there.
Pavlov's dog.
It is absolutely.
We are slaves. We are trained. They're going to electric shock us until we effectively do what we are told, when we are told, how we are told.
A lot of people have lost touch with the idea of productivity, the idea of I've worked for myself running my own business since 1990.
Yeah.
So that's 35 years.
Yeah.
So for 35 years, I've been responsible for every holiday I've taken, every sick day I've taken. I've paid. There's been no long service. If I want to have long service, I put that money away.
Yep.
There is no safety net.
Yes.
So for 35 years, I've done that. I'm not special, but there's a hell of a lot of people in society who
can't and won't.
Yes.
And we were actually talking about a lot of that today. So I run a self-managed super fund. That's my little safety nest. When Ryder's 18, he will become a director on the board of directors. He will become a director of the trustee for, as will Edith May and so on and so forth, right? My hope is, and we were actually talking about, because obviously I've got mum's down, so the baby, he dies, and we're talking about, how much super they get to draw on from what they've earned for how they live now that they're sort of semi-retired and how I don't ever want to cash out any of that. I want the kids to have it and to grow it, and for them to never cash out on it. I want them to keep investing and buying up stuff so that hopefully one day there'll be some family wealth. When Dad died, he 3/4 owned a property.
It's so rigged against our level.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I sort of went to hell no high water to get this self-managed super fund set up. By all standard metrics, I have no business running a self-managed super fund. I was audited, which at the time my accountant told me, and this was many years ago when I set it up, I was audited upon setting it up. He said, that's unheard of. Because in part, I wasn't supposed to. I sat there for days when they told me they were auditing me. I fucking did every bullshit course I could find on it. I became a self-managed super fund expert in about 48 hours. Because they were going to ring me and interview me to see whether I was fit and proper person to manage my money. Which, if you're watching this, you already know my stance on it. Fuck off, it's mine. And if I'm going to lose it, I'll lose it on my own recognizance. And I did one of the first investments I ever made. It was a 50 grand investment. Now, one of the questions asked were, are you being coerced by an accountant or a shark to do this? No, I found this, I call it a platform, this company, and they had some great results. I interviewed a heap of people who'd been with them for 3, 4, 5 years. They were getting great results. I went, fuck it. And I put 50K into it. You can look it up. It's called Courtney House Investment. So, anybody who's sitting there going, geez, he talks bullshit. I lost 50K, and it was the biggest white-collar crime in Australia at the time. I don't know if the bloke at the head of it, Tony Ivers, is in or out of jail yet. But for me, it was a punt. But I'd met a guy who was in on it. He lost money as well. But he'd been in it for a couple of years. He'd been getting his returns going, fucking wow. I went to the offices, and I just started talking to people. It was at Bondi Junction, up in the clouds. It was a great big office. It was as impressive as it gets. And I turned around with this money, one of the biggest investments, certainly at the time I'd ever made. I would have been.
But there's
30, 25, 30, whatever.
Every week in the financials, there will be investment scams.
Absolutely.
That's as old as money.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just humans.
Yep.
So everyone else is the same. You're no different, and they're all doing it with their own self-managed. And quite often, the people who are the advisors are.
There's quite often a lot, and that was why they asked those questions. And I dig all that. My argument was, yes, I'm happy enough to jump through some hoops because I want that option for control over my own money. And I can tell you, look, I've made the 50K back and some change doing other shit, whatever. But in saying that, it was a pretty big punch in the face to lose 50 grand. And when I was talking to family and friends about it at the time, I'm going to have to give it a crack. Fucking, I'm young enough. What's the worst that'll happen? Well, the worst that's going to happen, you lose your 50 grand, which I did. Yeah. But it's a very expensive lesson that, to be fair, there were far more savvy investors that lost their dough on that particular project than what I did. But I didn't turn around and go, oh, what a victim of, like those bastards. Obviously, I went, those bastards. But I also learned a lot from it. How the fuck did they pull this off? And how does that work? And okay, you know what I mean? It was a very expensive but a very harsh lesson. And you look at it and you kind of go, from where I'm at, trying to build a future for. I've always been legacy kind of minded, like I've always thought, how do I get these properties up? How do I do these things? And I've lost money along the way doing it, and hopefully at some stage they're all just going to sort of blend in. A mate of mine said to me the other day,
you can't learn without making mistakes. So,
especially if you don't come from an old money family.
But even those people,
they come through though, and they're well equipped. They have the internal accounting. They have those lessons. They have those conversations. Oh God, yeah, God, yeah. You can't be afraid of making mistakes, but it does help to make a mistake if Daddy's got $1 billion safety net.
But honestly, if you want to break it down to nuts and bolts, and this is where people get really, really, really head up arse. The most important thing you can have is your health.
Yeah.
Because you can have $57 billion in the bank. If you haven't got your health, you would give that 57 billion up tomorrow to have
that health. Oh, for sure.
So, and then you've got to have, there's so much money. It's all about balance. I know exactly what you're saying. And I don't believe that I think one of the biggest problems in the world is that people are taking more than their share. And I think
you bloody lefty.
No. I think that's when people, there's enough for everyone. But when people start to take more than their share, that's where the greed comes in, and that's where the resentment comes in, and that's where the scam actually generates from. So
yeah.
So I believe that there's certainly an element whereby you need to make enough for yourself to be comfortable in your later years. I believe it's up to your kids to make their money. It's part of their job. It's nice if you can help them along. But this whole idea, when you look at these people with these huge fortunes, more often than not, they're not having a great time. More often than not, once you've got a big pile, you spend about 90% of your time keeping every other bastard off.
Stopping thieves out of your time.
And you stop living your life, and you stop living these. And some of the richest people I know have got bugger all of the material assets.
Yeah.
But they've got a life well lived, and all of these, the positive impacts they make are.
Mate, look, and even me losing 50 grand like that, I've got a hell of a story out of it. There is, that's there. No, but where I'm
exactly the same. Whereas I didn't understand the share market until I bought some shares, and once I bought some dogs, and
they bitch on their ass.
Oh, then you go, wowzers.
Yeah.
And you don't even follow it unless you got some skin in the game. I know exactly what you're saying, and you've got to learn that. But
and that's a different language too, So, I don't know. Well, I've probably said it on the show. With the self-managed super fund, I've got about 10 grand's worth of Brisbane Broncos shares.
Yeah.
Now, people go, didn't know you could do that. One, they're the only sporting team currently in Australia you can buy shares in, right? Now, why the Bronco position? Yeah, they're okay. They're not a massive winner. What they are, though, is a way for me to have a conversation about the share market with my sports mad kid. Because the conversation is different around big fish tables to little fish tables. Now, I'm in a little fish table. When I used to speak to mum and dad about things like that, they would say, I'd go, should we buy shares? I was one of those inquisitive kids, and you'd hear people talking about it.
No, put it in the bank.
No, it's safe in the bank. In the share market, you will lose it. Yeah. You could lose all your money. And, and there's a lot of people that watch this program who really like my dad. And I'm sure they'd plenty that like my mum as well. May not all like me, but up your ass. But, we'd have those discussions. I distinctly remember being that kid asking those questions. Yeah, but all these people with lots and lots of money, and, because we do things. I was a pretty serious cyclist, and it was, no, well, we can't do this one because we haven't got the money. We can't get you that bike to compete with those kids with all those top-level bikes. We just didn't have the money. All that sort of shit. And I was like, well, why not? What are they doing different to what we are? And you'd ask those questions. I'm talking I was 10, 12, 13, whatever. I want to be able to not give the kids everything. I don't want them to go, I don't have to fucking work for a living.
Yeah.
I want them to, though, one, understand shit that took me a fucking long time to learn and a lot of pain to learn. I want them to learn that before it hurts too bad. I don't mind if they get a few black eyes. Black eyes are good for you.
Yeah, I just think that when you get to the next level, there's someone who's the next level.
Oh, for sure. But herein lies that back of the legacy for me, where the biggest thing in the world for me is I don't want to be owned. The reason I'm brave enough to do this program with you under this platform, risk quite often fuckheads ringing national companies, sending them emails because they got hurt feelings, whatever.
It comes at a great cost.
Is because I value the freedom at the other end of this more than I value any particular role. I can enjoy a role, I can have a good time at a role. I know I've got skills, capabilities, I can always evolve and adapt. Not a problem. If I got fully cancelled tomorrow, I'll still be punching along and life will be okay. I want my kids to be able to hopefully have a level of freedom. I want less guns to their head. Now, if that a big way to have those less guns to your head is that bit of financial freedom. It's that bit of, okay. I saw a bloke.
Yeah, but there's one part about that doesn't gel, because you don't appreciate something unless you've earned it yourself.
Sure.
And you don't learn a lesson unless you can't make mistakes for your kids, and you can't wear.
No, but I can make mistakes with them, and I can go, Ryder, this is why we bought the Brisbane Broncos shares, and he gets the shits. Well, I want Penrith Panthers ones.
But
now
the world's full of little Richie Riches who go out and crash cars, and then Dad bails them out, and they go and get into trouble with the law, and Dad bails them out, and they go and.
That's not.
Well, they're not the sort of people that you really want to hang out with.
No, but I want him to go, oh, yeah, we could do that. Oh, yeah, we can do that. Now, they were talking about those COVID protests in Canberra, Ryder was there. He was at the biggest protest ever held in Australia. Interesting. He's climbed the tallest mountain in Australia at the same time Dad did it. We're going to learn about the stock market together at the same time. Yeah. And, look, I've got shares in little property companies and, all sorts of different shit, right? And I do my homework and I go through blah, 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 blah. None of those are going to pique his interest to the point that he's going to understand that shit. He's not an academic kid, so he's not going to be reading the financial papers. But what he does now, and it's part of our vernacular, changes the vernacular, which is pretty important, I think. Language is such an important thing. He will now, anytime the Broncos, so when the Broncos won, they beat Raiders the other night. I suppose you're happy, Dad, because apparently I own them, but I don't want to own them, but I do. Why can't we, And it just means that in his head, it's not out of reach. It's a thing. It's achievable. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how focused people are on money when it gets a bit hard to make money out of property, because there's a lot of people in Australia think they're financial geniuses because they just happened to be alive when property went through the roof.
And
you know what I mean? Like
a good mate of mine, Chris, who he and I talk almost probably as much, if not more than you and I talk, said to me the other day, he goes, you know what, if you were at your age level 25 years ago, you'd be absolutely flying sky high. You're born in the wrong generation. I'm just not designed personality-wise for this sort of era. It was an interesting discussion because he's older than what I am, and we sort of get along really well. But it's not a bad concept how you would function and operate in different times and with different personalities and things like that. And again, I sit there and I go, well, that's probably not it would have been a bad experiment, because there's plenty of people who would say that I'd probably be all right in the 70s and 80s. I'd probably fit right in.
Look, there was a hell of a lot more freedom and a hell of a lot more personal responsibility that had to be taken. And if you made a dumb call, you got a slap. So I just think there's too much, like the whole thing has become such a struggle, and people are just treading on heads, and there's so much of this lack of authenticity, and every council meeting I go to, we've got another consultant engaged. And this going, why are we employing council officers when every time we have to make a decision, we get a consultant in?
Yeah.
So all the
is the head of that department inept and incapable of making a decision on said?
Well, pretty much all the council officers do is wrangle consultants.
Yeah.
So all they do is they just get a consultant in, they get a report, they manage the report, they present it to council, and it's horseshit. And the worst part about all that is we get these reports that are focused on a study area. They're not holistic. They're not taken by someone who's got any overview of the town or the future, or they're just a little snapshot here and a snapshot there in isolation, in silos. And a lot of these people are just failed humans. They're not. That honestly,
that's a surprise me.
No, but a consultant, like, what on earth? They are dead set snake oil salesmen. They're bullshit artists.
Look, it's like finding out that your metalwork teachers never run a metal shop. You're finding out that your cooking teachers never run a restaurant. You find out that your accountant can't count, and your business studies lecturer at school has never run a fucking business. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's people justifying their existence with bullshit. And
the whole idea that you can't make a decision until you get a consultant who's an expert in the field.
If I get
the reliance on these individuals is just through the roof. And I read a report where,
if I'm the sewerage manager of tomorrow, I don't even know if that's a title, right? But let's just say I assume there's somebody who looks after the sewage and guttering and whatever, right? I'm the sewerage manager for tomorrow. My job is to know all about sewage and to make it work, right? I don't want to talk to a consultant.
No.
I want to make the decisions that are going to make it work. That's my job. I'm getting mad. I don't know, fuck, 100 grand a year, we'll say. Lucky me. I'm here to manage it. Okay, I've got 5 staff, 3 staff, whatever the case may be, depending on how many of them need to do whatever. Right, council, just so you know, as far as the sewage, the treatment works have done the following, this and this. Now I've had to spend 40 grand on a brand new pump house or whatever for the following reason.
But you couldn't do that until you'd had 4 consultants report.
Yeah, no, bollocks, bullshit. Not having that. If I'm running the show, this is how the show's going to run.
No, I'm telling you, every time council does anything, they have to get a report from a consultant. And these consultants they're up the front of the gravy train. And you wonder why you're paying your staff when you've got to get a consultant to help them.
Well, that's exactly right. And what sort of a we'll say manager? So I assume that's more of a title in and around council staff. If you're managing a department or managing a role, I'd want to be in fucking charge of said role. I wouldn't want to be going, oh, well, hang on a minute. My boss's boss that we've consulted in is going to tell me what I can and can't do in my job.
The amount of reports that we get from outside council, and it's just an added cost, and it's unbelievable. It's through the roof. Consultancy. And look, there was something in the New South Wales public service came through where they were going to cut down on consultants. Like it's like an infection that's overtaken government, where they can't do a single thing until they get said expert. And all it is just a bunch of people with degrees justifying their degrees.
And I can't deal with them. I can't do it.
Look, and they miss the bleeding obvious. And they haven't got an overview, an overarching view. They're very focused on one thing, and they've got no peripheral vision. And like I say, it's just I'm yet to see something come out of a consultant that's worthwhile. The amount of money that's spent on it's just ridiculous.
No surprise.
And it's not backing off. It's actually
it'll be increasing 100% because as these people leave from one job, they have to go and become. I'm going to start a consulting agency. I'm going to bill my old mates to tell them what I already don't know about, and then I don't know about it, so I have to get somebody else. Load of bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're nearly at roll-up time. Yep. We're getting pretty close, but there's a couple of little things. Now, some arsehole had an attempt of cancelling me this week. So now I'm going to start running a campaign called Tell Them Dean Sent You. I think it was sort of half stolen from, I think it was, who was that one? Who was
Tell Them Trent Sent You.
Tell Them Trent Sent You.
That's an old one.
There you go. Yeah, I'm old. So we're going to do Tell Them Dean Sent You. If you're going to buy a car and it's not going to be directly from me, if you're going to find one from any dealership in Australia, tell them Dean sent you. Tell them you want me to get my consulting fee. Well, consulting fee. We call it a spotter's fee. If you like the work that I do, insist on it. If I can't supply you with the car that you want from my direct line of stock, I've got an extended line of stock based on the network that I'm involved in. But I don't care if you want to go down to Southwest Ford and say, I'm not buying a car from you unless Dean gets his spotter's fee. We can start doing that.
That's along the lines of another fellow that runs a fairly successful channel under the banner of Auto Expert.
Well, I think he sort of does run. He might run something similar.
But he can basically find a car for you.
Yeah.
And you don't pay him. The dealer pays him.
Yes.
And that's something. Yes.
I sat there and I thought about it the other day. Now, there's a couple of reasons for it.
No. And look, like I understand, and I think it's a great idea, and I think it's a really good opportunity for people to actually get themselves a good deal and also throw you a bone to.
Well, it allows me to continue to operate. Not that my existence has been threatened in any way. I'll make that very, very clear. The response from said company was, it kind of, yeah, we had a look. Fair. Now, in saying that, I'm not going to throw any company under the bus. I'm not going to throw any businesses that I do business with under the bus. What I am going to say, though, is a bit of a, let's call it a protect my back end anyway position, which you've got to do if you're going to be public and confident in telling the truth and being honest, is, if you want to go down to arguably Southwest Ford and buy a Ford, as opposed to buying one from my direct network, you can say to them, I would like a spotter's fee to be put on to Dean, who sent me to you. Dean sent, I'm telling you, Dean sent me. And they'll look at you dazed and confused because most of them won't have a clue. It could be a dealership in Young, Western Australia. I don't care. If there are brands you specifically want that I don't directly promote, reach out, send me a text, give me a call, send me a message, because there are other brands in the network that I can hook you up with where I can ring the salespeople. They'll get the sale. I'll get the spotters, and we all eat happily ever after. $200 goes a long way,
mate.
And then of course, look, I'm rolling next. I'm a little pissed off about it. Actually, I really want to stick it up these people's asses who are cowards. And I actually want to increase sales for the people who deserve it. And the other side of it is, of course, the pest control company is doing very well. I've just booked a heap of jobs. I've got 2 weeks up my sleeve here, a week and a half now. I know that some of you are going, no, stay at home with the baby. If you've seen me on this show for 2 hours, I'm like that all fucking day. Lisa would murder me if I didn't go out and do a few hours a day here, there, and everywhere else. So I got this time up my sleeve. I've been rolling out some pretty good deals for the Temora folk because obviously I don't have to drive too far. I can scoot around, knock them out pretty quick, and look after you there. And one of the other pest controllers, he poked me in the eye as well. So fuck him. I'm quite happy to take his customers right now. Oops, sorry guys, the gloves are a little bit off. And look, the freight company's doing what it's doing. It's kind of almost self-contained at the moment. One way or the other, I'll either keep it for another 12 months or I'll sell it off. It's probably almost in a position where I can do that. So look, ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to buy a car from anybody that is a legitimate business and you want to sort of throw me a little bit of, it's not even really, it's, well, it keeps me in business. It keeps me tapping along. I'm not in any trouble. I'm happy to say that. But I also go, hang on a minute, at any given time, these assholes can come gunning for you. They can try and pull the rug out from underneath you. And if those of us who are of similar mind do not support each other's businesses and our enterprises, we will all come unstuck at some point.
I have never seen a harder time really for smaller businesses to operate in Australia, and the when you look at regional Australia, it's even worse.
Yeah.
When you look at regional Victoria at the moment, there was a show on Landline last week that focused on the discontent in regional Victoria. It was very interesting viewing. Anyone who really wants to know just how disenfranchised a government can make a whole population feel, go and look at that. We've had, the Prime Minister of Australia chased out of Ballarat with tractors. People are really hurting, and the idea that people can just continually keep treading on heads and people won't jack up. And like I say, I believe the government are owned by the global corporatists. They've been bought and paid for. The fix is in. So therefore, the government doesn't do anything to assist small individual enterprises who are just trying to chart their own course. You've only got to look at the power prices. You've only got to look at the insurance prices. You've only got to look at, they're talking about, the conversation started up there today about, is it a good idea if we phase out diesel in Australia?
I saw that. I made a video about that too. Yeah. I think I spouted off about that before the program.
It's not until it's time.
No worries, Fred. I'll talk to you tomorrow, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
So the whole thing is just so completely absurd. And they are basically just trying to socialise Australia. I think the only safe haven for most of these people is to work in a government job and be protected by the government bullies and the cronies, and be protected and be sucking from the tit of the Australian taxpayer.
But for the rest of us, that's where, and again, we got 4 minutes, 3 minutes to wind this up, right? If you know somebody who has a business, right, and you like them and you want them to stay in business, share their posts, it costs you nothing. Invite your friends to like their pages, it costs you nothing. Support them, obviously, when you can. If you're local to them, you'll see me, I post quite a few different businesses at various times. Sometimes I don't have any direct link to them other than they're people I like. And I think if you're in the area where they're doing business, they look after you. They'll do a good job for you. They'll work well for you. The trick being, there's certain businesses that I have no use for. I am never going to go and get my nails polished. But if there's somebody who's doing nail polishing who is of a similar mind and a similar ilk to the types of people who like this sort of programming and fit into this spot, that's the person I'm going to recommend my listeners, followers, supporters, whatever you want to. We live in a world with followers. It's a fucking ridiculous notion. But it's that's just the wording of. I'm going to recommend that person's business. I'm going to share it. I'm going to invite my friends to like it. And and it doesn't hurt to give it a like and a share because it increases their traction in the area. It increases their ability. Referrals are amazing. I don't just do it in my business. I do it for other people's businesses. So I always ask for referrals when I do business, right? I think I sent out a text to people last year's customers offering $20 discount. Now, most pest sprays for this time of year, I charge about $180, $150, depending on the size of the house, $260, depending on how big the house, property, whatever, because I do the fences a whole lot, right? I'll knock $20 off your bill if you send me a successful referral to a friend. No problem at all. Now, $20 in a $150 bill is nice.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real, and it helps, and it's just a nice little thing. And all they're doing is recommending me to somebody that they already know and they already like it. Well, this bloke doesn't show up pissed. He shows up when he says he's going to show up and does exactly what he says he's going to do. Beautiful. And I'm not saying to do that for me. Of course, I appreciate it, but it's like following Irvine's signs. If you're going to get sign work done, I'm not going to recommend anybody else in the area. I'm really sorry. And so on and so forth. And I'd recommend everybody who does this, find your mates' businesses, promote them, share them, support them, buy from them when you can. Keep the economy, or build a bit of an insular economy around the people who share similar values. Nobody's going to share full values because Anthony's a hardcore lefty and now apparently I'm a hardcore righty. So you bloody hippie.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, thank you very much. We do appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. If you're brave enough, share the program as well.
And congratulations, old fella. Congratulations on the new child. And you've done well to even fit it all in this week.
I'm in love, not even looking in a mirror. Who would have thought that was possible? Everyone have a great week. Otherwise, we can't snatch this up. Beautiful. Thanks very much. Oh, I need to do that before. Oh, fuck. Have we got time?